Hello, this is Ken, and thank you for tuning in to the Model Building and Retirement channel. The folks at FusionFirm asked me to do a review on their new liquid chrome airbrush spray, so we're going to do that right after the intro. Sponsored by Model Makers Workshop. Need parts for your next model project? Model Makers Workshop has you covered with the best aftermarket accessories around. And by Gallery, your one-stop shopping for all your airbrush needs. Okay, so the folks over at FusionFirm had seen my video where I did their Ultra Shine Chrome test against Revell spray, and I had airbrushed it and also brushed it, which is the go-to application for their product. They saw that review and reached out to me and asked me if I'd be willing to do a review on their new liquid chrome airbrush spray ready to use. And of course I jumped right on that because I was going to buy it anyway. So they sent me a bottle to test, and that's what this review is all about. And I'm going to do several different little tests here. First one's going to be a spoon spray out test, and they claim that it can be sprayed over bare plastic, no priming or undercoat necessary. So I'm going to do a bare plastic spoon. I'm going to do a black primer spoon, and then I'm also going to compare it to the first iteration, the Ultra Shine brush on application, and I'm also going to compare it to the Revell chrome spray in a can. So we're going to do a complete side-by-side spoon test. And then once that cures up, about 72 hours, we're going to do a durability test to see how it holds up to fingerprints and touching. Then I'm going to try a clear varnish test because the newest iteration says that it can be top coated. So we're going to try using their varnish that came with the Ultra Shine, the original water-based varnish. And we're going to try that on the airbrush chrome spray. We're going to try it on their Ultra Shine, the original version, and we're going to also try it on the Revell, even though the Revell doesn't say anything about top coating. So we're going to do that test. Then we're going to do a complete set of wheels, and we're going to compare it to the kit chrome, the new airbrush spray chrome, the brush on chrome, and Revell, and then we're going to just do some other testing. So let's get right into it. Okay, so first off, we'll start with a little unboxing here. So FusionFirm Liquid Chrome Airbrush Ready comes in this little cardboard box, and this is their second offering, the first one being the FusionFirm Ultra Shining Silver Foil, which was a brush applicator style. Comes in this little bottle and has a little brush applicator in there, or you could use your own brush. And I've even airbrushed this too in a past video. But this new generation is specifically made for airbrushing, so we're going to find out what it's all about. I'm going to start off with the unboxing here. So it comes in a little cardboard box, 60 milliliter size, permanent, waterproof, perfect coverage, and easy to replenish. Liquid chrome. Okay, side of the bottle shows some basic instructions, filling your airbrush, and spraying. Doesn't get a lot into the technique or anything, doesn't talk about the distance or the pressures or anything like that. Some basic precautions on the back, and that's about it. So let's open up the box, take a look at what's inside. Okay, so it comes in this nice little bottle here. Very nice little bottle, 60 milliliter. It says shake well before use. And it has one of those little safety caps, almost like a medicine bottle does. So you got to push down to twist to open it. And it has a real nice little tip on it for filling the bowl on your airbrush there. So very nice packaging. No further instructions or anything, but a nice presentation. Much bigger bottle than the original. The original was half that size at 30 milliliters, and this is 60. And this is right from their advertising on Amazon, and I will have a link in my description on where you can buy it on Amazon, but it talks about how easy it is to use, its ability to do repair effects, its comparison to its previous version, double the size, and then it also talks about its comparison of what makes it better to the competition. And then here's some additional information about the item. Feel free to pause and watch that if you'd like to. Well, let's put it to the test and see if it holds up. So I have several different tests planned, and one of them is going to be a spoon spray out. And since it claims it doesn't need any primer or pre-coating, I do have a bare plastic spoon there on the left, and then the right is one that is primed in Kaleido Gloss Black Primer. Just for kicks, I wanted to see how that works. And then I'm also going to use their previous version, the Ultra Shine brush-on method, and I'm going to also compare it against the Revell Chrome Spray. In addition, I prepared several other types of pieces here that we're going to use throughout the comparison, and I'll talk about those as I go on with the review. So to get started, we're going to do the comparison between the Ultra Shine original version and the Airbrush version. So we're going to prepare some parts here. So I'm starting with the brush-on version, and with the bare plastic spoon, I'm going to just liberally brush that on like you're supposed to per the instructions. You don't want to keep working that product in because you will get some brush strokes, so you're supposed to just apply it extremely wet and not try to like keep touching it up, because it does have some excellent leveling capabilities. And you're just going to cover the entire spoon like that, and you'll see it's amazing right before your eyes how well that levels out. And as long as we're at it, I did prepare 3 pieces equally for testing. So these 3, I'm going to go ahead and brush on the Ultra Shine Chrome. And then I've got the same 3 pieces or duplicates thereof that I will be doing the Chrome Spray. And then we're going to do a side-by-side comparison. Once again, you just brush that on nice and liberally. And even though this test is actually for the liquid chrome airbrush ready paint, I do like the old version of the brush paint as well. It goes on really nice and levels very smooth. But the only reason I'm doing it in this video is just to compare the finish and the ease of application between this and their new version. Okay, so we're at the spray booth, and even though the instructions don't give you any particulars about pressures or needle size or anything like that, the product is very thin, so I definitely chose a 0.3 millimeter airbrush, and I'm using my Galari GHAD 39 for this. And I'm using 18 to 20 psi, which is typical for something that thin. And I'm going to do a nice liberal medium wet coat, making sure I just cover that real good. I'm not dry spraying like I would a lacquer or anything like that. I'm covering it really well. I noticed almost just like the brush version of it, it levels almost immediately. If you see any orange peel or whatever, it settles down. So that was the primed spoon, and now the bare plastic. Nice and liberal. Okay, so once the spoons are done, I'm just going to go ahead and airbrush all the rest of the parts that I had prepared for my testing. So we'll just let that go by. But once again, nice and liberal. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up until we're done, and then I'm going to show you how to clean the airbrush. Okay, so it's time for some airbrush cleanup, and since the liquid chrome is an alcohol-based product, I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol to clean the brush. So I'm going to use isopropyl alcohol at 90%. I believe 70% would work as well, anywhere in that range. And what I'm going to do is I dumped out my product and I sprayed out what was left in the cup. And then I'm mixing up or pouring some into 2 little cups. And one is going to be for flushing the gun and the other is going to be for soaking my tip and nozzle when it comes time to do so. So first I flush out the gun, so I'm going to just spray that out for a while, shake it up, let it just kind of go through the gun a little bit. So after spraying some of the product alcohol through the gun, I take a paper towel and I clean the bowl. And it just gets the excess out, just makes cleanup speed up a little bit more. And I'll just put some more alcohol in there and I'll run some more through the gun. And then I'll hold my paper towel up against the front and pull the trigger back and flow the product, and that'll bubble and backflow the product up through the bowl. And I'll rinse and repeat this until I start spraying clear product, and then I'll go through my disassembly. Okay, once that alcohol is flowing clean out of the gun, I'll begin my disassembly there. So I'll just pull off my tip and nozzle and I'll put that into my clean little cup of alcohol. And then I'll pull the needle out through the front and wipe that down. And I'm just going to clean all the individual pieces. Okay, so I clean out all the little details here. I'll speed up through the process there, but I disassemble the cup as well and kind of just run through a bottle brush through, rinse it out real good, and I'll speed that up and then we'll come out and we'll take a look at how the spray outs worked. Okay, so the spoons have been allowed to cure up, so let's take a look at the results here. Side-by-side comparisons. So this first spoon is the liquid chrome test paint here on bare plastic spoon. It's got a really nice gloss, very smooth. It leveled out pretty well. Okay. Then I sprayed it on a spoon that was black primer, and it came out much duller. And I know a lot of people like to use black primer first or black paint underneath their chrome. The FusionFirm says that's not needed, and in this case it actually made a difference. I think that is not a very attractive looking gloss, so covered bare plastic better. So I would rule out painting black first. It's not necessary. Okay, then the third comparison is against the original iteration here, and this is the Ultra Shining Fluid Silver, and this was brushed on. And this is an amazing product too, because you brush it on it, it levels out really well. It's got a very nice shine to it. So let's compare that to the Airbrush version. In my opinion, the brushed on one has a slight advantage of the chrome, a little bit more reflective, but both look pretty good. Okay, then the third one is comparing it to the Revell chrome spray. Now I gotta tell you, the Revell chrome spray really glossed out really nice. I don't know if that's picking up on camera really well, but we'll compare that to the new spray chrome. And I think you can tell the one on the right with the Revell just reflects extremely better. And we'll compare the Revell to the brush on. And I think the Revell edges out on that one too. And then just to be fair, the spray chrome one I resprayed because I know that the brush goes on extremely wet and the Revell goes on extremely wet. So I did reshoot this, and I'll have a little footage there in the upright the picture-in-picture scene there. So I reshot that super wet with the liquid chrome. Just making sure. I mean, I just loaded that on nice wet coat. I think it looks really nice, and when you compare it to the original, slightly better improvement. But let's compare it direct to Revell. Put Revell on the right. Revell still edges out in that reflection. I can see like the individual LEDs on this Revell better than I can on the FusionFirm. Now this has been, all these have been allowed to cure for at least 72 hours. So now I want to do a little durability test. So the first thing is like on the corner here, just going to touch my thumb on it. Kind of pressing around like I'm handling it. So the Revell cured pretty well. I'm really not seeing the fingerprints. Ever so slightly. It's not leaving an actual fingerprint, but just getting a little duller as I handle it. All right, so let's check the FusionFirm. Okay, same thing for durability. They've both been allowed to cure for 72 hours. It's not leaving a fingerprint or anything. So next thing I'm going to do is try a little bit of that FusionFirm varnish from their original iteration. So this is just a clear waterproof varnish, because it does say on the bottle of the Airbrush Chrome that it can be top coated. Just wait 72 hours. So I'm just shaking this up real good. And the Revell is not meant to have any of that at all. But let's just brush a little bit on here. And I'll just do it across the top because I might want to do some more experimentation. Okay, we'll let that dry up, but it immediately dulls down. But we'll see what happens once it cures up. And we'll try that to the Revell here too. Same thing, it looks like it's gonna dull up on me. So we're gonna let those totally cure, then we'll come back and take a look at that. Here's an extreme close-up so you can see what that clear varnish does over the chrome. You know, it definitely dulls it up. That might work if you're going to tape off and just spray like window trim or whatnot. It probably wouldn't be as noticeable, but it would add that durability that you're looking for. Probably wouldn't look much different than the chrome foil from bare metal foil. Okay, next up is another test, and this may not even be a fair test for any of them because none of them claim to be able to hold up to it. But I'm just going to try some UV resin, just in case somebody wanted to spray their headlight buckets or something with it and then use UV resin for a headlight lens. So I'm just going to put a little UV resin in a cap here, and I'm going to apply it with a toothpick to each one of the spoons. So the UV resin has a nice little surface tension about it. That's what makes it ideal for the lenses. So if you just build that up by adding a little bit on top of each other with that toothpick, you kind of get like a dome, like as if you're putting a glass lens on, and it works for dashboards or headlights or whatnot. So I'm putting an equal amount on each one of those. And of course that stays wet and won't cure until it's under ultraviolet light. Kind of is like a syrupy, sticky consistency, almost like maple syrup at this point. And once I get the spoons all covered, I'm going to go ahead and put them exposed to my ultraviolet light. And I'm going to set the light for 3 minutes exposure time on all 3 spoons. And I will fast forward so you don't have to watch 3 whole minutes of ultraviolet light. Okay, so it's 3 minutes later. We're going to remove the light and take a look at them. Okay, that really didn't work well. In fact, on all 3 iterations, you know, whether it was the spray chrome, the brush chrome, or the Revell chrome. And once again, I said that probably wasn't even a fair test, but I wanted to see what it would do, and I thought maybe you might be interested in, well, but, you know, giving you some close-ups here, you can see that it really didn't work out well. Okay, so my next test was a set of wheels, each of them prepared differently. So the very first one is the original chrome from the model kit, toy chrome if you will. The next one is this brand of the FusionFirm liquid chrome airbrush spray. So that's your second one here. The third one is the brushed on Ultra Shine from FusionFirm. And the fourth one is the Revell chrome spray in a can. Get a nice close up here. So the shiniest of them all is the chrome from the chrome tree. The Revell chrome spray, I think, wins as far as gloss. I would say they look equal as far as the Airbrush FusionFirm and the brushed on FusionFirm. They're both very nice looking, but the Revell edges out as gloss, higher gloss if that's what you're looking for. I think the Revell gets awfully close to the model chrome. Hopefully you can see that real good. I'm twisting it around for the lights here. So once again, this is the sprayed on FusionFirm liquid chrome. That's the brushed on Ultra Shine from FusionFirm model kit, and Revell chrome spray out of the can. So my next comparison is this grill that I had, a spare grill that I had, and I stripped the plastic, I stripped the toy chrome, model chrome off of it, and then I coated it. Left side is the liquid chrome from FusionFirm, airbrushed on, right out of the bottle. Got a real nice shine to it. And then I masked that off with a credit card to spray the other side, and the second side was sprayed with the Revell chrome spray. So they're both equally, well, they're both very respectable chromes. I think once again the Revell edges out on the shine. Just got a little bit higher shine on the Revell. Now this was going to be a test of the model chrome versus the liquid chrome from FusionFirm, but unfortunately when I taped off the model chrome, it peeled up here and exposed like a green below it. But if you flip it over, even though this chrome is marred up as well, you'll see that the toy chrome from the kit is glossier, which, you know, is a reason why a lot of people do the spray on chrome or the other chrome, is because they think that's too glossy. So even though that's not a real good comparison because the tape peeled up the toy chrome, I did want to share that for what it's worth. Okay, then the next comparison is testing, once again, testing FusionFirm against itself. So you got your liquid chrome versus your Ultra Shine brushed on chrome on the right. So these are all stripped chrome parts. So on this left is a side pipe with the spray on FusionFirm, and on the right is the brushed on FusionFirm. And I think they're very equal in gloss factor and smoothness. So that you can either airbrush this chrome liquid, or you can brush on their ultra shining brush on application, and either one will work really well. So it just depends what you're going after. So perhaps if you're going to like tape off your trim around your windows or something and want to airbrush your chrome on, I would think the liquid chrome would be the way to go. Okay, now we also have equally prepared valve covers here. So the one on the left was airbrushed with the liquid chrome, and the one on the right was brushed on with their Ultra Shine chrome. Once again, very, very equal looking in my opinion. Okay, and then finally, here are just some other examples of parts that I airbrush with the FusionFirm's liquid chrome. So this is a set of the dog dish hubcaps and trim rings that comes with the Revell Mach 1 kit from the Diamonds Are Forever. So in that kit, they just come in white bare plastic, as you can see on the back here. So this is sprayed directly on plastic, leveled out really nice. And there's actually letters there on the dog dish that says Ford Motor Company. And when I first sprayed that, I sprayed it on nice and wet. And when I first sprayed it, you couldn't even see those words, but it leveled out really nice. And this stuff does hold up to panel liner. Let's try a little panel liner on there. So I'm just using a little Tamiya black panel line accent color. Okay, so next up, I'm going to try to demonstrate the panel liner. So I'm using some Tamiya accent color black. And what I found with this and any other of the spray chromes or aftermarket chromes is they take panel liner pretty well, but you have to be precise where you put it, because if you're not able to clean it up where you don't want it. So I'm going to work under my glass here and see if I can do this without screwing it up too badly. The trick is to get it precisely where you want it. Okay, so as long as you get it precisely where you want it, it looks really, really good. Get some light on there for you. But if you get it where you don't want it, it doesn't want to clean up very well. It will stain on you. And before I give you my final thoughts, I did want to clarify on the comparison part of the test is I only compared it with what I had on hand. So you may have some of your favorite products that I don't have on hand here, but I did compare it to the FusionFirm's first generation Ultra Shining Fluid Silver foil and the Revell Chrome Spray, because that is all I had on hand. Okay, so that completes my test of the chrome airbrush ready to use, liquid chrome from FusionFirm. It's a good product. It shines really good. And what I'm going to do now is just give you my final thoughts about it. As far as shine goes, I think Revell won out all the way around. As far as durability goes, I think they're equal. And ease of use. Well, they're both pretty easy to use. I think where this product shines, pardon the pun, is it's very easy to use. It's ready to use for the airbrush. You can just put it in there, and then you can flush out your airbrush with some alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. Cleans up super easy, so it's you know, no big deal there. Cost-wise, the liquid chrome that we see here, and I'll have a link in my description for all three products in case you're interested. But the liquid chrome, as you see here, it's a 2-ounce bottle for $18 approximately. So that's $9 an ounce. So that would last you quite a bit. You know, I mean, I couldn't even imagine how many model kits that's going to get you through just doing small parts or whatever. And there's very little waste because you just pour a little tiny bit in your airbrush, and if you run out, you just put a little bit more in. I don't fill my cup to the full because you know, it'd be a pain in the neck pouring it back in the bottle, and I wouldn't recommend that anyways, because once something's exposed to air, it may start to harden up a little bit and affect the rest of the bottle. So you could just add a little bit to your cup at each time, very little waste. The Ultra Shine brush-on bottle is approximately $12 for a 1-ounce bottle, but they also include that 1 ounce of their clear varnish. So you still get 2 ounces of product, so that's $12 an ounce of your product, your chrome, or $6 for the chrome and $6 for the clear. And then finally, Revell is a 5-ounce can, so you get quite a bit more. It's more pricey at $31 approximately for 5 ounces, which makes that about $6.20 an ounce. But there's a lot of wasted product there because it is out of a spray can, and when you spray it, it comes flowing out of that can quite a bit. So a lot of that overspray is just wasted product. So you got to keep that in mind. You can decant it, and I've never tried that, but I suppose that would work. But I still think there's some wasted product in even trying to do that. And if you're going to go through all that trouble, it's probably just better to use an airbrush ready paint. So cost-wise, you know, Revell probably wins out per ounce, but I think the liquid chrome wins just for the ease of use, just ready to spray right out of the bottle. They all hold up to panel lining really good, so you can use the Tamiya panel liner, but it is an alcohol-based chrome, so get that panel liner exactly where you want it, because cleanup isn't going to work. You know, you can try to sop it up with a Q-tip or anything, but it will stain. So just get under a glass, a magnifier or whatever, and use something very like a detail brush and get it right where you want it, and it'll look great. But if you smear it or get it on a drip someplace where you don't want it, it's going to be a problem. So that's my opinion of it. appreciate FusionFirms for sending me the model to test. I think you're okay with either one. The other thing that I would say that this chrome spray would be good for is if you're gonna like tape off all your window trim and chrome trim on your car after you've painted it. I think if you carefully masked everything off, that this airbrush paint would work really well for doing that. I didn't test it that way, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. So that's something you might want to consider, but I would wait at least 72 hours, if not a whole week, before you handled the car, because in most cases you're picking that car up by the roof rails and you'll be touching that chrome constantly and you don't want to mar it up. So, but durability wise, if you wait 3 to 5 days, it works out pretty good. And while I was filming, I forgot to actually give it a rating with stars here. So I actually give this a 4-star rating, and only because it was edged out with the Revell chrome spray as far as shine goes. So if it had a little bit higher gloss factor, I'd call it a 5. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.